Florida is a great state to live in if you love theme parks. For any other reason, I'm so sorry. But hey, it's the place I was born and where I spent much of my early years growing up. As far as being a roller coaster enthusiast goes, I've taken 2 theme park related trips here. The first was in December 2018 when I got to visit SeaWorld Orlando, Busch Gardens Tampa, both Fun Spot parks, and Aquatica, which yes is a water park so that will not be on the list. Then, this past summer, I got to check out all 4 Walt Disney World parks, Islands of Adventure, Legoland, and revisits to SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, and Fun Spot Kissimmee. All of these parks are great and really make Florida a bucket list destination for theme park fans. So in today's video, I will be ranking the top 10 parks I've been to in the state of Florida. Just a heads up though, this list will differ from yours because I'm just as much into theme parks as I am amusement parks. For those of you who don't know the difference, a theme park is more immersive like a Disney park, and an amusement park is more along the lines of a Six Flags. But nonetheless, all genres of parks are great for their own reasons, and so I'll be sure to highlight their strengths in this video. A few disclaimers before we begin are: 1, I actually haven't been to Universal Studios Florida since I was a little kid, but it is a pretty substantial park with some fun looking attractions, so I'll be giving my estimated guess as to where I think it would place. Also, this entire list is going to be my personal opinion, and as I said, it'll probably be pretty different from yours. Lastly, these videos take a lot of work to create, so any amount of support, whether it's a like or subscription below, is greatly appreciated. With that being said, let's dive right into the list. These are the top 10 theme parks in the state of Florida. Number 10, the Fun Spot parks in Orlando and Kissimmee. So I wanted to pair the 2 Fun Spot parks together since you can't have a list with one of them and not the other. The first operates in Orlando, right across the street from Universal Orlando Resort, and the other is in Kissimmee, closer to Walt Disney World. Now these 2 parks are very small, especially compared to what the rest of the parks in Florida have on offer, but I think that's actually a great selling point. The way they're able to market themselves is by suggesting that there's something you can do at nighttime after one of the bigger parks in the area. It's easy to check out the entire park and do most of the signature attractions with just a couple hours, and it helps that they're always open very late as well. In general, these parks have very nice atmospheres, a lot of the staff are great, and roller coaster enthusiasts will want to come here for their signature wooden coasters. In Orlando is White Lightning, an out and back GCI coaster, and in Kissimmee is the incredible Mind Blower, which is a compact gravity group coaster. Both of these are worth the trip out alone, so all things considered, the Fun Spot parks are highly recommended. Number 9, Legoland Florida in Winter Haven. Located about 50 minutes from Orlando, give or take, I got to check out my second Legoland park because a friend of mine was awesome enough to supply me and my parents complimentary tickets. If it weren't for him, I probably would have never came here because while it's a decent park all around, it's not meant for our target audience, and it has an $80 admission fee, which isn't worth it. But aside from the money, I did have a good time here, and it was a cool way to start off our Orlando trip this summer. The park currently has 4 roller coasters on offer, all of which are clones of rides you can find at other Legoland parks with one notable exception. This ride is Coastersaurus, which is the ride I was most looking forward to riding here because it was Martin and Vlemick's first creation. That's the company who designs much of the Gravity Group's coasters that we know and love today. Other than that, the park also has a decent collection of dark rides, with the best being Ninjago the Ride and Emmett's Flying Theater. The latter was very impressive and ended up being the best ride in the park. Outside of the rides, Legoland is nicely landscaped, has a whole ass garden worth checking out, and has some pretty good food offerings. But unless you're desperate for coaster credits, I can't say I'd recommend this place all too much. That said, if you are a younger guest and you have children to bring with you, I'd be more likely to suggest a visit to Legoland Florida. Number 8, Universal Studios Florida in Orlando. Taking a pretty significant jump from Legoland is our first major theme park to make this list. It also happens to be the only one I haven't been to, aside from when I was a very little kid. The reason behind this is because I've never found this park to look all too amazing from the outside. It's very expensive to go to, and when you have the separately gated Islands of Adventure next door, it's hard to justify spending time here. With that said, this park has some solid dark rides and roller coasters like Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, Revenge of the Mummy, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, Transformers, and etc. But none of these attractions will blow your mind like the ones at Islands of Adventure will, so again, it's not hard to understand why I've been holding this park off for so long. Nonetheless, and you guys can quote me on this, next time I'm in Orlando, Florida, I'll give it its fair shake and see what it's got on offer. Number 7, SeaWorld Orlando. Arguably the best SeaWorld park out there, definitely boasts the best roller coaster collection. That is by far the #1 reason why coaster enthusiasts like myself will want to head out here. Mako is the park's standout attraction and is absolutely one of the best roller coasters in all of Florida. Manta is also a great ride, as is Kraken, and I'm sure Icebreaker will complement this list when it opens next year. Outside of the coasters is where this park and all the other SeaWorld parks suffer for those of you who are just here for the rides. Infinity Falls is a great rapids ride, and Empire of the Penguin is fun when the line isn't 2 hours long, but other than that, you'll have to be content checking out the animals. This is something I definitely don't mind doing because I think SeaWorld has a great variety of exhibits on offer. Plus, one can't forget the shows that they do because they're also pretty well done. Now, I do have to say, SeaWorld Orlando is growing fast. Every few years, they seem to add another new amusement ride, whether it's a roller coaster, a water ride, you get the point. And because of this, I always find myself coming back here, but if that weren't the case, I'd honestly say one visit is enough for a couple of years' time. SeaWorld Orlando is a pretty solid park that I'd encourage you to visit if you've never been before, but if you've been recently, holding off another visit is perfectly acceptable until Icebreaker opens next year. Number 6, Epcot in Orlando. While Epcot may be lagging behind the other parks at the Walt Disney World Resort, particularly in terms of ride lineup, that's all I can really knock them for. Even then, however, I absolutely loved Test Track, Soarin' Around the World was great too, Frozen Ever After is pretty fun, and Figment is the weirdest piece of shit I've ever ridden. Spaceship Earth is also a classic, though I do look forward to its renovation because parts of it do seem to be outdated. Along with that, all of Future World is undergoing renovation, so that whole section was filled with construction walls and it really wasn't pretty, so that could have also knocked Epcot down a little bit on this list. I will say, World Showcase more than makes up for this. I didn't get to explore a lot of it, but it's an unbelievable idea that they have here. The concept of getting a glimpse into other countries and cultures was a genius move for Orlando, and so checking out the area is something I'd strongly encourage you to do. Additionally, Epcot has some of the best food offerings in the entire resort. I'd personally recommend Sunshine Seasons. It looks like it would be basic park food at first, but then you try it and your mind is just blown. Now, the last thing I want to point out is that Epcot is undergoing a lot of future development. Obviously, I touched on the Future World refurbishment, but they also just opened Ratatouille, which looks amazing, and will debut their first roller coaster in 2022 with Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. So I definitely keep your eye on Epcot. They seem to have a really bright future ahead, but as I sit right now, I couldn't find it in me to put them any higher on this list. Number 5, Magic Kingdom in Orlando. I know it isn't the most popular amongst coaster enthusiasts, but come on, this is the most legendary Disney park in Florida, and the one that I would recommend everyone go to if they could only pick one of their parks. As you can faintly see, that is not because it's my favorite in the resort, but because it really encompasses what Disney parks are all about. The atmosphere is legitimately world-class, the themed sections are astonishing, the food is awesome, and the rides are great, although they could use a few more modern attractions. My personal favorites from the ride category include Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion, Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, and Carousel of Progress, and I'm also sure Tron will have something to say when that opens at the park next year. So that's my take on Disney World's Castle Park. Guys, even if you hate to admit it, you love this place, I love this place, your grandmother loves this place, and that's just how Magic Kingdom rolls. Number 4, Disney's Hollywood Studios, also in Orlando. Look, I know this is a reoccurring theme, people, but we've got to get somewhere. What really makes Hollywood Studios worthwhile are all the incredible rides. I can't think of any other Disney park in Florida that has more e-ticket attractions than this one. For starters, this place has Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which is freaking amazing. That is arguably the best individual ride on our entire planet. Surrounding Rise of the Resistance is the entire Galaxy's Edge section, which will absolutely blow you away. I swear to you guys, it really does feel like you step into another world, more so than any of the lands at any of the other Disney parks, except for maybe one that I can think of. My top recommendations for things to do in this land, obviously excluding Rise of the Resistance, would be drinking blue milk and getting a ride on Smuggler's Run in the pilot position. Those two experiences go together like peas in a pod, I'm telling you. Away from Galaxy's Edge, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Tower of Terror are absolutely outstanding. The former attraction feels like a total acid trip, and the latter remains in its OG form, aka the superior version of the ride. Some other noteworthy attractions include Star Tours, The Adventures Continue, Rock and Roller Coaster's Fun, Slinky Dog Dash, and much more. Disney, as of recent, has done an incredible job making this park grow, and it's very evident when you take a visit. Disney's Hollywood Studios is an absolute must-do on a theme park trip in Florida. Number 3, Busch Gardens Tampa. I'll admit it, I used to think even more highly of this park. And while I do still love it, it's hard to feed it that same praise with the operational faults it's had over the past year. First of all, you've got Iron Gwazi delayed for 2 years without telling us why, when, or what's happening. And also, when I attended on a Sunday in June, which is like peak tourism season, Cobra's Curse and Falcon's Fury were both down. Now, this didn't bother me all too much because I had been to the park before in 2018 and had ridden all the major rides, but if this was my first visit to the park, I would not have been too happy with missing 3 of their marquee attractions. As far as strengths, Busch Gardens Tampa is chock full of beautiful immersive theming and a great all-around coaster collection. My personal favorites are Kumba, Montu, Shikra, and Cheetah Hunt. I think all of those rides are just fantastic. It also looks very well taken care of and very nicely presented overall. Additionally, it has some of that typically awesome SeaWorld Entertainment food offerings, and all things considered, it's a large-scale park with tons of stuff going for it. So if you haven't been here before, check the maintenance schedule and plan accordingly, but as long as you keep that into consideration, you will have a great visit to this gorgeous theme park. Number 2, Disney's Animal Kingdom in Orlando. At last, we've made it to what is my favorite Disney park in Florida by a pretty long shot. Funny enough, this was the park I spent the least amount of time in, but 5 hours was still plenty enough of time for my mind to just be blown. There is so much to talk about here to where I struggle to even begin, but one specific thing about this park that will leave you shocked out of proportions is none other than Pandora, the World of Avatar. As of now, this is my favorite individual section of any theme park, yes, above Galaxy's Edge, and yes, above Hogsmeade over at the Universal Parks. Never in my life have I felt more immersed in a land than I did here, and the same can absolutely be said about the area's 2 attractions also. Both Avatar Flight of Passage and Na'vi River Journey are 2 rides that I consider to be e-tickets, but talking about the former a bit more, Flight of Passage is one of the most amazing rides anywhere on Earth. If not Rise of the Resistance, I can almost guarantee that this will be the most unreal attraction you experience in the entire resort. Stepping aside from Pandora, the Asia section is also wonderful, as is the anchoring attraction of the land being Expedition Everest. Let's also not forget to include the park's gorgeous centerpiece being the Tree of Life. That is just beautiful. One last thing I have to mention is that this is one of the most beautiful parks maybe in the entire world. None of it seems artificial, and it feels so incredibly different than the other Disney parks. So it hasn't even been more than 3 months since I've been here, and I'm already itching to get back to this amazing place. Once again, Animal Kingdom is by a significantly long shot my favorite park in the Disney World Resort. Number 1, Uncle Bernie's in Fort Lauderdale. South Florida's only legitimate amusement park packs a real punch for its area. Alright guys, I'm kidding. You can't expect me to keep a straight face while talking about Uncle Bernie's. Number 1 is really Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando. I don't think this park needs much of an introduction to coaster or theme park enthusiasts. Quite honestly, this place has the best dark ride roller coaster mix match of any park in the world. Velocicoaster is my favorite ride here and is also one of the best coasters anywhere on Earth. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey is also an exceptional ride with its super unique technology and amazing theming. I also love Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure and the Incredible Hulk Coaster, which are 2 extremely well-rounded coaster experiences in their own right. Additionally, for dark rides, Skull Island Reign of Kong blew my expectations out of the water, as did Spider-Man. Both are just phenomenal. For water rides, you have 3 of the best in the world here, and some of the best of their own ride genres. Popeyes is by far my favorite and wettest rapids ride I've ever seen. Dudley Do-Rights is an elite log flume, and Jurassic Park is an immensely themed boat ride attraction. So those are the rides you're going to want to make sure to experience when you come here, and as you can see, this park has been spoiled with a ridiculous amount of S-tier coasters, dark rides, and water rides. I also find that Islands of Adventure has an otherworldly atmosphere with some of the world's best operations just behind the Disney parks. I also appreciate their free locker system, proving that safety really is their number 1 priority without taking any extra cash from your wallet. As of right now, this is my personal favorite theme park in Florida, and I do not see that changing anytime soon. If you're taking a trip around the state, you'd be crazy not to stop here. This is a phenomenal theme park. If you haven't figured it out already, Florida is the place to be for theme park fans. Well, the Orlando area is the place to be. The rest of Florida doesn't really have jack shit. But hey, I know I'll be looking forward to plenty more visits to the state in the future for some of these incredible theme parks. I hope you guys can generally agree with my rankings, and regardless of if you do, I'd love to see your rankings down in the comment section below. Also, as I said earlier, these videos take a lot of work, so please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you very soon. Bye guys.